story of excellence. He's now a current UVU student, an award-winning musician, and did I mention he's one of the world's foremost motivational speakers? He's had his busiest month of his career this month. We're so lucky to have him tonight. He's demonstrated daily in his career the excellence that he is learning here as a current student in the halls of UVU. I've shared a stage with him before. I'm excited to share the stage with him again. Please join me in welcoming Ryan Stream to the stage.
Hello. I'm excited to be here. Hello. Utah Valley University family. It is an honor to be on this stage with my speaker friends sitting over there. Thank you so much for allowing me to come here today. When I was a little boy, I wanted to be a hero. Like many of you, I was influenced by Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. We have so many princesses here today using their beauty and kindness to change the world. Specifically, I wanted to be a Ninja Turtle. I'm only 5'3", and everybody reminded me when I was a kid I was a midget turtle. But I was brave, extremely brave. When I was a little boy, I was so brave that I escaped from the babysitter's house. I ran down to the jail where I knew my mother was. And I had a plan. I was gonna break my mom out of jail. So I ran around the building and I started to scream, "Mom! Mom! I'm here to break you out!" Now, surprisingly, my mother, she heard the cry. When my mother came to the window, she was not excited to see my heroism. My mother did what most mothers would do. She told me that she loved me, but then she snapped her fingers and she said, "You better get your butt home." So I ran to the other side of the road unsuccessfully. I turned around to see my mother, and my mother started to cry. And then my mother's face went down. During my life, I always saw my mother cry. During my life, I saw my mother crying or I saw her with a bloody face. My mother needed a hero. You see, by the age of 12 years old, my mother, in the most respectful way, was taken advantage by old men twice. Both of my mother's parents died by the age of 12. She spun out of control and she found what she thought was a hero, a villain masked with charm and muscles. My father was a villain. He beat my mother into a coma. I'm here to tell you, my mother needed a hero. During the worst parts of my life, because my parents' trauma turned into my trauma. As a little child, I was the little boy that lived in a homeless shelter, foster care, one by one, watching my brothers being ripped away from me, crying, hungry, depressed. But during my life, I've been able to meet 5 heroes. The first hero, my brothers and I, we were begging for food at a homeless shelter. Walking around the city asking people, "Do you have any food? Excuse me, do you have any food?" There was 2 old men sitting outside of the bowling alley, and they had a box of California raisins. And I walked up to the old man bravely, and I said, "Excuse me, sir, can I have some of your raisins?" And I thought he was gonna put his old finger inside of the box. But instead, he gave my brothers and I all of his raisins. I learned right then as a little kid, when somebody does something kind for you, it makes you feel good. He was the first hero I have ever met. When I was in the 2nd grade, I ran into the school classroom, disrupting the class like I always did. And I said, I'm adopted. Not only was I adopted, they adopted my whole family. A teacher. And I know there's teachers out there, and I love teachers. And my dad was a police officer. My parents earned their stripes as a hero when they gave me a brand new pair of clothes and a pair of light up shoes. My parents always taught me to make good choices. Ryan, you better do what you're supposed to do. Especially my mom. She was like a drill sergeant. Lovely lady. When I was in high school, I was the homecoming king. Yes, Lord Farquaad did it. I excelled at many things, but one thing that I struggled at was learning. I was the kid in resource class. I was the kid every single day. I had the teachers, Ryan, come on. Every time when I was little, I would raise my hand to be brave and to read. All the other little kids would laugh at me. You see, after high school, at the age of 20 years old, I was pulled over 3 times with drugs. I was sued. I was $30,000 in debt, and I was homeless. I went to a jail almost a dozen times, and I was breaking into UVU apartments to sleep at night. And my best friend that I got addicted to drugs overdosed and died. My friends, I wanted to change my life, but I didn't know how. There was a man during this time that said, Ryan, meet me at the Mexican restaurant in Springville, Utah. The gas gauge on my car screamed, empty. You can't make it. And the bank was looking for my car. But this man said, Ryan, meet me here. Come on, I just need to talk to you. I learned at this time that words were magic. After dinner, he reached into his pocket and he gave me a $100 bill. And he said, Ryan, you take this $100 bill. And one day you promise me that you pay me back. At that time in my life, I had no idea how I was going to pay him back. His name was Rick Rasmussen. And 2 years later, after returning home from war, I drove my brand new car over to his house. He was laying on the grass with his son-in-law. And when he noticed it was me, he started to have tears in his eyes. And he said, Ryan, what are you doing here? And I said, Rick, I'm here to pay you back. Rick was a hero. My friends, all you need is one person to believe in you. Just one, besides yourself. While being deployed to Afghanistan, there was 23 of the 32 that I was with that had their vehicle blown up. And one of them did not come home. War is hard. War is scary. While I was in Afghanistan, I wanted to be kind. I wanted to be the hero. I wanted to give people shoes, clothes, candy, because I wanted to make the children feel like that man made me feel years ago. But the Taliban started to strap bombs to the children's bodies. And when the soldiers in my province would feed the children, they would blow themselves up, killing the soldiers in my province. You are no longer allowed to get out of the vehicle, especially you, Stream. They knew that I loved to sing and dance to the kids. One day there was a little boy who came up to our vehicle. He wanted food and candy, and he had his hungry, starving little sister. You could see their bones. My sergeant said, Ryan, open up the door and throw out a piece of candy. After a debate, I opened up the window. I barely threw out a piece of candy, and of course, the little boy outran his little sister and grabbed the piece of candy. Over there, women have no rights. They are treated less than an animal, a dog. Many times we have seen little girls grab pieces of candy, and everybody in the village would beat the little girls. But on this day, that little boy grabbed the piece of candy. He turned to his little sister and gave her the candy. We jumped out of the vehicle. We gave him as much food and candy as they could carry. But a couple hours later, Just the little boy came back, and he had something behind his back. We started to scream at the little boy, "Stop! Please stop!" But he got closer, so the gunner put the weapon on the child and fired a pin flare, which is a line of defense just over the child's head. And the little boy, he was scared, but he had a burning desire to keep on moving forward. That little boy showed me what was behind his back. It was an egg. My friends, that little boy was a hero in my eyes, coming behind enemy lines, showing me that there is kindness even in the most darkest places. He and his family were starving, and he told us thank you for feeding his family. Over there, they have nothing. He was a hero. The final hero is my wife, who is sitting over there. In 2017, I was in a car after deploying to Afghanistan twice. I had a plan to end my life. 4.5 miles outside of Delta, Utah. I got fired from my job. I exited the military for mental health reasons. What a coward! What a wuss! I thought it all. One person at work even said, "I can't believe they allowed you to carry a weapon." My friends' words are powerful, and I let them beat me down. But I had my wife who used those magical words, "I believe in you." I remember the best motivational speech she ever gave me. "Husbands, it is our duty and our obligation to provide, protect, to love, and to make our spouses feel important because they are important." And I failed to do that. But my wife reminded me why she married me. And today, my wife and I own 4 businesses. We have 10 incomes. I am a best-selling author. I have 3 music awards. And according to Google, I am the #1 motivational speaker in Utah, sitting next to Stephen Covey and Thurl Bailey. I am not the hero. Heroes pass the ball. And here is proof and a story of just that. There is a boy, his name is Ryan. Ryan, like me, he wanted to grow up to be a hero. He wanted to be in the NBA, but he was handicapped. And all of the students let him know, "You can't do it." But he had one person that believed in him. Every single day, his principal would wheel his wheelchair to the front of the school. He was handicapped too. He had no legs. He would say, "Ryan, basketball season's coming up, try out." He did. Cut. Every single day, he volunteered to rebound for the boys' basketball team and the girls' basketball team. Senior year came. Here was Mr. Ben wheeling out to the front of the school. "Ryan, it's your last chance, try out." He did, and he made it. But he never got to play. Finally, there was one student that walked up to the coach and said, "Coach, you need to put Ryan in the game." And he said, "No, because it's the playoffs." So the whole team went up to the coach and said, "Coach, put him in the game. If we get up by 15 points, will you put him in the game?" They got up by 15 points, and you can see on the screen the coach tapping Ryan on the shoulder. And Ryan, for the first time in his life, he was able to play basketball. Everybody in the community held up signs. This was his moment. The other team, they grabbed the basketball, dribbled down to the other side of the floor, and they missed. Ryan's team grabbed the ball. Instead of shooting the last shot, they passed the ball to Ryan, who shot the only shot he's ever shot in his life. And it went in. My friends, he didn't make the shot because he was the best basketball player ever. He was not the hero that night because of him. He was the hero because of the teammates that took a stand. He was a hero because of the person that passed the ball. My friends, you and I are where we are at today because of the people around us, not because of ourselves. We are here because heroes build other people. And tonight, UVU has passed me the ball. I've been going to school since 2007, and finally I am 5 classes away from graduating with a psychology degree, a family science degree, and a communications degree. When I came back to school, I stood outside and I looked at the university and I said, I will not leave here until I win. There are students like me, first-generation students, who need heroes like you, people that do not get the basketball. So please, pass the ball. Thank you, my friends and my heroes.
Everybody needs a tonight.